Thank you, Mr. Chair, esteemed panelists, academicians, students, respected guests. First of all, I am grateful to EFSAS and Vrije University of Amsterdam for taking the lead to discuss historical, political, and especially the legal process followed since the question of Jammu and Kashmir was taken to the United Nations. The topic which is given to me, how Pakistan has jeopardized those resolutions. The state of Jammu and Kashmir was created after the first Anglo-Sikh War in 1846 under the Treaty of Amritsar signed between Frederick Curie Esquire and Bugle Major Henry Montgomery Lawrence, acting under direction of Right Honourable Henry Harding, Governor General, on the part of the British government and the Maharaja Gulab Singh in person. I would like to shed some light on the process, how the state of Jammu and Kashmir was created, how it was proceeding towards a nation state, and what happened to its integration, its sovereignty, its territorial integrity after 101 years, so that you as a students could learn more about the basic nature of this conflict, why this conflict happened between India, Pakistan, and later China also entered into this conflict in 1962. So the Jammu and Kashmir, under the Treaty of Amritsar on 16th of March 1846, become a suzerain of British India. That was a special status that the state of Jammu and Kashmir was enjoying internal autonomy, internal sovereignty, but externally it was sharing its foreign relations with British India under the terms and conditions of Treaty of Amritsar. There are four prominent eras of our history. The Gulab Singh, who was a local ruler, also enjoying a suzerainty under Maharaja Ranjit Singh Sikh Kingdom of Punjab. And because of his allegiance with the Punjab Darbar, or the government of Punjab, he has a huge influence in the government of Punjab. And at the end of that war, he entered as a mediator between the Khalsa Kingdom and the British. And subsequently, he managed to get Kashmir Valley, which was at that time under the administration of Punjab Darbar, by paying 75,000 rupees as a ransom of war, because the total ransom of war was levied on Punjab government was 150,000. So he has to pay half of the money so that he can establish a state of Jammu and Kashmir. So under that treaty, the Jammu and Kashmir was established, and later around 1861 to 70 and until 85, there were some transfer of regions because Maharaja Ranbir Singh thought that there should be boundaries which should separate it from the British India. So the final settlement of boundaries were come into existence around 1885, 1886, and during that period of time. Then after the death of Gulab Singh, Maharaja Ranbir Singh came into power, and he introduced himself as a great reformer. He abolished child marriages, forced labors, and many other things. which were also inflicting or damaging the social fabric of local people, but he proved himself a great reformer and also introduced Rambir Penal Code, which was later taken by the Indian government, and which was still existing in various parts of Jammu and Kashmir, including our part of Kashmir, especially the forest laws and many other things were the part of Rambir Penal Code. After him, Maharaja Pratap Singh came into power, and the British started pressing him to appoint an officer on special duty. OSD officer should be appointed in Srinagar and also in Gilgit. And under duress, the British were allowed to appoint 2 officers, one in Srinagar and one in Gilgit. And those officers start playing with the local ruler, because British had their own geopolitical interests, especially in Gilgit-Baltistan, because of its link with the former Soviet republics and People's Republic of China, and also Afghanistan via Wakhan corridor. If you look in the north, you will find a narrow corridor which is known as Wakhan. So geostrategically, that was very important. And after him, the 4th ruler, Maharaja Hari Singh, take the reign in 1925. And that was the period when there was a lot of political struggle was going on in mainland India. All India Muslim League was established in 1906, and All India Congress was also established around at the end of 18th century. So Maharaja Hari Singh, when he was on a training and study in UK, in Great Britain, during that period of time, he observed that how the Palestinians were selling their lands to the foreign settlers. And with this whole scenario, when he went back and he was appointed as a new ruler of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, he introduced a state subject law on 20th of April 1927 to protect the land of the people, that every person will have the land rights. So 4 major titles were given to the people, the state subject of 1st class, 2nd class, and 3rd class, and the 4th class. And also the law was made to bound the companies, which kind of companies could operate in Jammu and Kashmir, how they will pay the tax, what will be the situation, the land they will acquire, for how long they will acquire the land. So these were very historical law that was introduced in 1927. And in 1928, Jammu Kashmir High Court was established. And in 1931, the political parties were allowed that now democratic process should be followed in state of Jammu and Kashmir, whereas there was no such development taking place in other 564 princely state of India. So practically the Jammu and Kashmir state was the only princely state where they were slowly but gradually moving towards a nation state. The Maharaja was slowly and gradually and in process was trying to modernize his state so that the people of his state could enjoy more and more political, social, economical, cultural and democratic rights. And then in 1934, the first assembly elections were held in state of Jammu and Kashmir, and the first political party which was established was All Jammu and Kashmir Muslim Conference, which was renamed as the Jammu Kashmir National Conference in 1939, so that the non-Muslim state subject should fully participate in national political dispensation, and they should not feel isolated that Muslim Conference Party is only for the Muslims and for their benefits and for their rights and for their perks and privileges within the state. But the National Conference issued and initiated a new Kashmir slogan, new Kashmir manifesto, that the future state of Jammu and Kashmir, it would be more modern, progressive, democratic, and socialist. Like All India Congress was practically striving was against India, against British rule in India. So, dear friends, on 22nd of October, Pakistani military designed a plot that is known as Operation Gulmarg. Gulmarg is a very popular touristic resort in Indian administrated Kashmir. It's a very beautiful place. And the plot was to capture Jammu and Kashmir by force. It was designed by Pakistani military and backed by some disgruntled elements of Muslim League in Pakistan and some religious elements as well. And there are many versions, people are telling many stories because on Pakistani side, unfortunately, the history is badly distorted. They manipulated everything in the blend of two-nation theory, which is not the fact. The matter of the fact is that Maharaja of Jammu Kashmir, because of the division of subcontinent and the bloodshed and the migration and the disturbance, was trying to keep his people safe and his country out of that mess which happened because of the division of British India. But he was not succeed in his mission. The Mountbatten was playing his own game. He was trying to persuade him to join either India or Pakistan, but refrained from keeping his state independent. Whereas Maharaja's position was to save his people, only to save his people and to keep them out of that mess. And he intended to decide later on when the division of British India would be settled. Once it would be settled, then okay, all right, he will seek the aspirations and wishes of his people, whether they want to join the new dominion of India or Pakistan, or want to remain a buffer between both of them, or want to remain independent. But that was thwarted because of that tribal attack. And due to that tribal attack, Maharaja was forced to accede to India. On 26th of October, he requested Government of India to protect his state against foreign incursion. And it was respected on 27th of October, and a formal treaty of accession was agreed between the Government of Jammu Kashmir and the Government of India. And then both the armies start fighting in Jammu and Kashmir. Indian army was airlifted in Srinagar, and the tribals who were busy in looting, raping and killing innocent the people in Muzaffarabad, which is the capital of Pakistani administrated Kashmir nowadays, and also Baramulla town, which is under the administration of India. It is very close to Pakistani administrated Kashmir border. You can say very next town is Baramulla after Muzaffarabad. And the case was taken to the United Nations Security Council by India on 6 January 1948. That Pakistani-backed military and tribals entered into Jammu and Kashmir, and they are looting and killing and raping and destroying public property in an area that has legally and constitutionally acceded to India. So this was the first complaint before the UN Security Council. And on 20th of January, the UN Security Council approved and recognized. First, UN Security Council asked both parties to establish peace in the region and to halt fighting. And then there was a huge process of correspondence between the British Prime Minister Clement Attlee, between the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Liaquat Ali Khan, between the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, and between the members of UN Security Council, permanent and non-permanent. So there were claims and counterclaims. One party was saying that it is foreign attack, the other party was saying, no, we have nothing to do with this incursion, we did not bear that. Initially Pakistan refused like always, that oh, we have nothing to do with this tribal invasion, whereas those tribal invasions from northwestern frontier of Pakistan province, that is, it is into Afghanistan, cross all the way Punjab into Muzaffarabad, and some other tribal areas, people also entered into our districts, like from Mari, from Kotli Satya, and from other areas, because they believe that these areas were very rich. The women used to use silver ornaments, gold ornaments, and those attackers, those invaders, cut their hands, their noses, their ears, and put them into the plastic bags. They had no time to remove those precious gold and silver ornaments. So these stories came after 70 years, when two migrants from Muzaffarabad wrote their books, A True Story of a Mother, and when Muzaffarabad was burning in fire. So these are two books that actually revealed what happened on 22nd of October in Muzaffarabad, in Mirpur, in Rawalakot, and in Kalandri, Sudnodi, and in other areas where thousands of people were forced to leave just overnight. They had no conflict with the fellow Muslims, neighbors. They had very cordial and very great relations with each other. There was no problem. But all of a sudden, when the Pakistani nationals entered into our state, everything was suddenly changed. So the stories are really dreadful. When you will read, you will astonish that how a person could so brutal to kill innocent people even without any crime, any problem. So that happened. We are talking to the United Nations Security Council how and why Pakistan jeopardized. The basic question is that before us, after 7 decades, we are the third generation. My grandfather was a man, a young man in 1947, then my father came, and now I am. So when we observe all these things impartially, when we try to explore history, to research history, we did not find any book in Pakistan or Pakistani administered Kashmir. Unfortunately, there is no such a library in Pakistani administered Kashmir, but we do not have such historical material available in any Pakistani library. Either they are destroyed or they are out of print. And in recent years, because of information technology, thanks to the global innovation, that we are capable to transform those books which were out of print into PDF formats. And one of the most important book was Raiders in Kashmir, because Pakistan was telling us that, oh no, we did not back any tribal invasion. It is a concocted story. It's a fake statement of India that the tribals invaded into Kashmir and Pakistan army into Kashmir. But the person who was the main architect of Operation Gulmarg wrote himself in the book that yes, it was us who attacked Kashmir, and the primary focus was to capture Kashmir by force, because the majority of Kashmiri population was Muslim. Whereas the popular party of Kashmiri Muslims was National Conference, and they stood against tribal invasion. And they organized young men, women, and every person who was able to fight in the streets of Srinagar, the summer capital of Jammu Kashmir. So that notion was totally failed, that Pakistan was not involved, or Kashmiri Muslims, on the basis of their religious belief, had to become the part of Pakistan under the guise of, or under the policy of two-nation theory, that there are only two nations in Indian subcontinent, whereas 250 languages are spoken, and similar kind of ethnic, religious diversity could be found in modern India. The Sikhs are there, the Christians are there, the Jews are there, the Parsis are there, the Shiites are there, the Sunnis are there, the Ahmadiyya Muslims are there. So we can find every religious minority or majority in India today. And it was not correct that there were only two nations. Basically, it was the need of British to divide India into two pieces. Basically, they were trying to divide it into three pieces in 1935. And the partition of Bangladesh was designed in 1935. But of course, because of the unionist policy and the policy of Muslim League, and later the policy of the British, who were the colonial masters of that land, changed that, okay, all the Muslim majority areas should be blended into a new country, namely Pakistan. And the people who proposed this name were the residents of Great Britain. They were Punjabis, but they were living in England. Chaudhry Rahmat Ali and his brother Chaudhry Shaukat Ali. So you all have to research on these issues. And those brothers are still laying down in Great Britain. They never returned to Pakistan. Even they create or they give the name, the new dispensation as a Pakistan. So only two provinces were divided, the Punjab and the Bengal. So this was a little bit the background of this division. And now, when the question came into the UN, primarily it was Jammu and Kashmir question. But the Foreign Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Zafarullah Khan, prayed before the UN Security Council that because there were some other problems too between India and Pakistan, the two new dominions, the Jammu and Kashmir question should be redesigned or rescheduled or renamed as India-Pakistan question, so that we can discuss all the other issues like the issue of Hyderabad, Deccan, Junagadh, and the transfer of assets and the distribution and division of militaries and all other things. And so it was done. And in the meantime, on 13th of August 1948, a truce agreement was signed between the UN Security Council, India and Pakistan. And under the terms and conditions of that truce agreement, Pakistan had to vacate Pakistan administered Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. It was a prerequisite for the plebiscite that until Pakistan does not vacate, there shall be no plebiscite. And in 1993, some of you were also present yesterday's event. In 1953 and 1954, when United Nations Military Observer Group in India, Pakistan visited Karachi, the then capital, to go to the region to observe that the tribals and the military has vacated, and now to see if the environment is conducive to appoint other members of the United Nations Commission for India, Pakistan to hold a free and fair plebiscite. Then, at that time, Pakistan accepted that there are 3 division militaries in POJK, Pakistan Occupied Jammu and Kashmir. So until then, they refused that, oh, we have nothing to do, it is local people who are fighting against India on the basis of religion. And now we are in 2022. Our state is no more, as most of you are well aware what happened on 5th of August 2019. And on our side, Pakistan is trying to dismantle the disputed nature of Pakistani administered Kashmir. There are no fundamental human rights for the people in Gilgit-Baltistan. We cannot take part in elections. And Pakistan has imposed a so-called Act 1974 and Article 31, 32, 33, 56, And especially the Article 7, Sub-Article 3, describes that no person or political party in Azad Kashmir shall be allowed to take part in activities which are prejudicial or detrimental to the ideology of state accession to Pakistan. So, at one hand, if any Pakistani intellectual leader, academia, or anyone would come to speak to you in coming future, you will say, oh, we are supporting right of self-determination of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. But they refuse to guarantee us very same right. And for us, there is only one right, that we have to support Kashmir allegiance to Pakistan. Kashmir would be part of Pakistan on the basis of religion in 21st century. So this was the whole story that I had to share with you. Some of you will become foreign service officers, maybe ambassadors, maybe bureaucrats in European countries, maybe in Netherlands, maybe in Germany, maybe in France or Belgium, or maybe some of you become members of the European Parliament. So you should have a clear view what happened with the people of Jammu and Kashmir and how Pakistan played with the religious sentiment to exploit them. Thank you very much.